Thanks so much, Cass, for this, and thank you so much to TCBN for the invitation. I'm so happy to be with you all today. So today, as Cass introduced me, I'm actually a research director at the Institute for Research on Public Policy, but today I'm speaking as a member of the Affordability Action Council on their behalf to share with you the recommendations that we've come up with over the past, I would say, about 18 months. So what is the Affordability Action Council? Basically, the Affordability Action Council was formed given that we thought that we are in an unprecedented period where both lower and middle income Canadians, they were exposed to two, we found, intersecting crises: the climate change and affordability. And the thought and the main mission of the Affordability Action Council is that these two crises, they are related. They are not mutually exclusive, if you wish, but they need to be addressed all together. And it's critical for maintaining policy acceptability as well. We were formed in spring 2023 with an initial mission of advising the federal government pre the previous budget. We continue today to tap on more of the recommendations that we've given last year, either through pushing forward some of the recommendations that were not adopted, some of the recommendations that were adopted, we're even pushing them further in terms of implementation or expansion. So basically, where did our recommendations for the retrofit reset come from? The fact that energy poverty is a national problem. Low-income households, they continue to spend very large shares of their income on energy bills and energy-related costs. If you look at the figure here, it shows how different provinces or different regions, they face different levels of energy poverty. You could see according to the definition, so the different colors show you different definitions of energy poverty, but in general, it ranges from 30 to 60%, which is a non-negligible share of households that they live in energy poverties. And while most lower income households, they are renters, a substantial portion of those in energy poverty, they're also homeowners. So it's not only limited to renters, it's also limited to homeowners. And so basically at the Affordability Action Council, we had provided a package of recommendations in that sense, basically to provide free turnkey retrofits for homeowners. And we have detailed some methods to provide those retrofits through either the recent expansion of, for instance, the National Heat Pump Partnership. This could be a foundation that could be built on, or the creation even of a new program, which happened in the last budget, although the funds were not sufficient and were not yet, well, while we find it like a first good step, but it still needs a bigger expansion. We had another policy brief called Affordable Housing Reboot, and it was mainly targeted again towards the federal government, asking to bring back their federal leadership in deeply affordable housing. So when we look at some stats and facts that formulated those recommendations, we will see that 40% of Canadian households, they cannot afford market rent. And I don't think it's any surprise to any of you on this call, these numbers. 20%, they cannot afford more than $1,100 per month, including their utilities. And 19% cannot afford more than $1,600 per month. The average rent, however, in Canada, we would find that, and that's based on a 2021 census, so it's not even updated, it would actually range at about $2,200 per month. So 95% of the housing stock in Canada is market rate, And so we are in deep need of non-market housing in Canada. Our recommendations revolved around acquiring and leveraging property near transit, so transit-oriented property. And the reason why we said property is that it could be land where you could build new housing from scratch, or it could be buildings that need to be renovated and redirected to become suitable housing units. And to build mainly net zero, but also climate resilient, what we call community housing infrastructure. So it's not only about buildings, but needs to be transit oriented, close to amenities, so total communities, if you wish. The idea was to front load the right type of housing rather than postpone and bake in emissions and affordability into the future. So it's more effective to build the right type of buildings, and in terms of affordability, net zero, but also climate resilient at the moment, rather than postponing problems down there in the future.